Yeah.
Okay, now on to the second most important topic, January 6th.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
January 6 rioters. We will launch a new age.
There's a lot going on with this whole story here.
Hold on, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, my tabs are completely wrong here. Hang on one second. Good. Pulled up the wrong story
my
here.
My tabs are wrong.
CNN.com headline here. Secret Service erased text messages from January 5 and 6, 2021 after oversight officials asked for them. Watchdog says.
That's suspicious.
It's a little suspicious. Yeah.
Okay.
Hang on one second. I'm sorry. This is for the video people. I just want to make sure that I get the right thing visualized. There we go. Yeah, now the video people can see the article. Okay, so here's what the article says. The U.S. Secret Service erased text messages from January 5th and 6th, 2021, shortly after they were requested by oversight officials investigating the agency's response to the U.S. Capitol riot, according to a letter given to the House Select Committee investigating the insurrection and first obtained by CNN. Whoa, CNN doing some journalism.
You know, this is actually the most exciting part of these January 6 hearings to me.
Okay.
This might be the very first exciting thing that's happened.
Sure. Yeah. The event itself wasn't exciting enough for you? All those people walking around taking pictures?
I'm talking about the hearings. I mean, this is more exciting than the actual watching live. You know, it's so okay. I don't want to get into it, but I'm just going to make a statement. When I get into conversations with normies about Jan 6, gritters, yes. You know, I'm just giving my take on it, and they'll be like, "Are you kidding me? Have you seen the videos?" I'm like, "Bro, I watched it live. I was sitting there watching it live, reporting on it before anybody even knew that it happened. I was sitting there watching it, and without fail, they kind of just putter off. There's a shift in their body language and their aggressiveness because they know that they've only been spoon-fed details about it. And some of them didn't even hear about it until like the next day or something. Yeah. And it's like, dude, I was there. I was watching it. I watched it live. And they're like,
I watched it live.
I was playing video games. So
yeah. Well, there you go. That's a good solid argument against the gritters.
Yeah.
The letter, which was originally sent to the House and Senate Homeland Security Committees by the Department of Homeland Security Inspector General, says the messages were erased from the system as part of a device replacement program after the watchdog asked the agency for records related to its electronic communications. Quote, the first department notified us that many U.S. Secret Service text messages from January 5th and 6th, 2021 were erased as part of a device replacement program. The USSS erased those text messages after OIG requested records of electronic communications from the U.S. Okay, so it's the same thing. Got it. Second, DHS personnel have repeatedly told OIG inspectors that they were not permitted to provide records directly to OIG until more legislation.
Oh, don't do that. I want to know. I want to know what is happening. I mean, unless you can summarize it for me.
They basically deleted the text messages as part of...
Yeah, but their excuse was...
the device
they were replacing their phones or something, right. And it deleted the messages, which is hilarious because that is just not how phones work.
Yeah. The Intercept was the first to report the existence of the letter. Homeland Security Inspector General did not immediately respond to CNN's request for comment. The U.S. Secret Service pushed back on the allegations in a statement saying that, quote, the insinuation that the Secret Service maliciously deleted text messages following a request is false. In fact, the Secret Service has been fully cooperating with the OIG in every respect, whether it be interviews, documents, emails, or texts, end quote. The statement continued later, quote, DHS OIG requested electronic communications for the first time on February 26th, 2021, after the migration was well underway. The Secret Service notified DHS OIG of the loss of certain phones as data, but confirmed to OIG that none of the text it was seeking had been lost in the migration, end quote. So there you go.
They said that nothing was lost, but it was.
Apparently. I don't know. I don't know who to believe right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Senator Gary Peters, chairman of the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, called the allegations, quote, concerning in a statement Thursday. Quote, we need to get to the bottom of whether the Secret Service destroyed federal records of the Department of Homeland Security obstructed oversight. The DHS Inspector General needs these records to do its independent oversight, and the public deserves to have a full picture of what occurred on January 6th, the Michigan Democrat said. Representative Bernie Thompson, a Democrat from Mississippi, chairs both House Homeland Security and January 6th committees. He acknowledged in a statement Thursday evening that the panel had gotten the letter. Quote, the Committee of Homeland Security received a letter from the DHS Inspector General regarding the Secret Service deleting text messages the Office of Inspector General requested as part of its investigation into the January 6th attack on the Capitol. The committee will be briefed about this extraordinary, troubling destruction of records and respond accordingly. While the letter does not say whether the DHS watchdog believes these text messages were erased intentionally or for a nefarious reason, the incident adds to growing questions about the Secret Service's response to the Capitol attacks. I think that's the bigger takeaway here and the bigger point. The Secret Service has been in the spotlight since witnesses have described how the former president, Donald Trump, angrily demanded that his detail take him to the Capitol following his speech at the White House Ellipse shortly before rioters breached the building. And then the end of the article here, a former advisor to the Vice President Mike Pence also referenced the Secret Service in his testimony. Greg Jacob, Pence's former counsel, told the panel that Pence refused to get in the vice presidential vehicle after being evacuated from the Capitol, raising concerns that the driver would have taken him to a secure location and thus prevent him from certifying the electoral results.
So the whole conspiracy here,
yes,
by the January 6th committee is that the Secret Service was in on it.
They're in on it. They're Trumpers. And because Trump threw Pence under the bus, right? So now Pence is a good guy to the whole political theater. So Pence was defending the Constitution and the transition of power.
The big conspiracy was that they cause a riot, people break into the thing, they're chanting "Hang Pence" or whatever.
Right.
Pence is evacuated before he can certify the election.
Yes.
Put into an escape mobile and taken away
to a safe
it
place.
Can be certified.
Yeah.
That is the most, I will say this, that is the most comprehensive.
It is very comprehensive.
it only works. The whole January 6th thing, the conspiracy theory, only works if the Secret Service is in on it.
Which, I mean, you can call it in on it, or maybe it was just
didn't work very well.
No, it didn't work. But also, you can say in on it or just following the president's orders.
Upon, right.
As the Secret Service. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is, and the text deletion thing, who knows? I mean, I don't know how much information. What they're trying to imply here is that the Secret Service probably has some text messages from Trump, like, go get him, go put him in the car, do whatever, just some text messages from Trump telling him. Yeah. So I don't know, but this is very interesting, an interesting development, especially concerning January 6th and Trump and all the, we know that as 2024 approaches, this particular topic will be politicized, weaponized, whatever needs to be done to, continue the hate Trump train narrative going, but also maybe, a Republican versus Democrat play too, trying to keep the Democrats in power. So,
well, we know the whole committee, the whole hearings, it's all a big show.
Theater, yeah.
And whether or not, if it wasn't for the deletion of the text messages, which may have been on purpose or it may have been not on purpose, the fact that they were deleted or the timing of the request happened perfectly to correspond with them replacing their devices and the messages being lost or whatever. It's just perfect for creating a seed of doubt that perhaps that conspiracy theory has some merit to it. Because I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense. If none of the other hullabaloo about January 6th and what they think that they were trying to do on January 6th and Trump's involvement, especially.
Right.
None of it makes any sense. And people know it. People are so bored because on its face, it makes no sense. But if they can get this conspiracy theory going that was the plan to use the Secret Service to whisk Pence away before he could do his thing. That would at least make a compelling story to tell.
Yeah. We'll see how it all plays out. We'll keep an eye on it. And, all
right. Well, there's been a series of events, Gons, that I want to walk you through.
A series of unfortunate events.
Yeah. Are you ready? Did you have anything else?
Sure. I'm done with the Jan 6 thing. Yeah.
Okay. We're going to start at over here at uprocks.com.
Okay.
The headline is Trump had to cancel one of his rallies because he has to testify under oath instead. This came out on July 11th. So this is step one in the story. For most of his life, Donald Trump has never had to pay the consequences of his actions. He's lived in a bubble in which he can do whatever he wants. Ooh, bubbles are a theme for this show.
Yes,
keep that in mind. Bubbles, where he's infallible, where he didn't lose the 2020 election, but that may change. The January 6th hearings have been a danging and shocking. Then there's that probe by the New York State Attorney General's office, which will find him testifying under oath for probably the first time in his long life. And it's already causing him some inconvenience.
And they had to admit he's lived a long time. Life.
He's old. They're trying to put the old thing on him.
Yeah.
As per Raw Story, Trump had to cancel one of his rallies because it coincided with the day not only he, but also his children, Ivanka and Don Jr., are set to testify in the probe, which is examining his finances. The big day is July 15th.
Today.
That's the day, Gons.
Today.
And that was also supposed to be when he was set to appear in Greensboro, North Carolina. The event has since been quietly removed from the American Freedom Tour site.
So he was supposed to do court during the day, rally at night?
They had to cancel the rally.
He's a busy man.
Because he actually was going to have to testify under oath, which is something that he's been able to avoid for most of his life.
Yeah, I think continue to avoid it.
And he continues to avoid it. He's supposed to be tested. Now, keep in mind, this is, and it can get kind of confusing because they keep talking about Jan 6. But this is not for Jan 6.
Right.
This is for
finances, right?
The New York State Attorney General's office looking into his finances, where they are trying to find criminal charges. Now, it is tied to Jan 6, obviously. They're trying to get him to not run in 24. But he was supposed to come in and testify under oath, he and his children. Until Yahoo.com, mirroring from AFP. Trump fraud probe testimony delayed over Ivana's death. Ex-President Donald Trump's deposition in New York's civil probe into alleged fraud at his family business has been postponed following the death of his first wife, a justice official said Friday. Trump and his eldest children, Donald Jr. and Ivanka, had been due to start testifying under oath in New York, Attorney General Letitia James's probe on Friday. But a spokesperson for James said the depositions had been delayed because of the death Thursday of Ivana Trump, who was Donald Jr. and Ivanka's mother. Quote, in light of the passing of Ivana Trump yesterday, we received a request from counsel for Donald Trump and his children to adjourn all three depositions, which we have agreed to, the spokesperson said in a statement emailed to AFP. Quote, this temporary delay and the depositions will be rescheduled as soon as possible. There is no other information about dates or otherwise to provide at this time. Quote, we offer our condolences to the Trump family, she added. Ivana Trump died aged 73 at her home in Manhattan. Police are investigating whether she accidentally fell down the stairs, and the city's medical examiner is due to determine the cause of death.
Yeah, the good old ghost shoving people down the steps routine.
The old fell down the stairs in the perfect moment that would help your ex-husband evade testifying under oath about his own, his fraud allegations.
Yeah.
And this, look, I'm not saying anything about anything.
I'll say it.
But This is extremely convenient.
I will say, and I mentioned it. Did I mention it last episode? The Trump body count? Are they trying to create a Trump body count similar to the?
I don't think you did mention it.
Wow, did I not?
Well,
was it talking to you about it off air?
Abe.
Right, and I was saying they're going to try to do a Trump body count like they did to Clinton body count, right?
Yeah.
Was it off air?
I don't know. Maybe it all runs together,
I said
man.
It on air.
What is the difference between off air and on air anymore?
It's all one thing. I know. That's what I'm saying. We're being ourselves here, folks. If you think that we're putting on a show, but this story, which adds a little more flair to this whole thing, is CNBC. This just came out right before we went live. Ivana Trump died from accident. Blunt impact trauma. Medical examiner rules.
Blunt impact trauma.
It says here Ivana Trump. Did he really have a wife named Ivana and then Ivanka?
It's seriously her. It was her daughter. She named her own daughter.
Oh, right.
Her name with a K in it.
Okay. Ivana Trump, the first wife of former President Donald Trump, died as a result of an accident after suffering blunt force trauma injuries to her torso, the New York Medical Examiner's Office said Friday. The ruling came a day after Ivana, 73, was found dead in her Manhattan residence. That's all it says. That's all the news is.
So fell down this. They're wondering if she fell down the stairs, but the medical examiner, blunt force trauma to the torso. Take her out. Usually,
we need a distraction. Just let her go. It's her turn.
That is so
Sorry,
dark, man.
To make light of it, but
no, it's so dark. But you're right. Like even if this was an unfortunate accident where she fell down the stairs, 73-year-old woman, in wherever she was, maybe she was living alone. I don't know. They said they've found her. I'm assuming she would have some sort of butler or something.
Yeah.
But, you think of falling down the stairs, you think like, oh, you hit your head.
Yeah.
You
break your neck. Something like that.
Break your neck.
That's usually what happens down the stairs, right?
But blunt force trauma to the torso.
I mean, you got to really
hit your tummy really hard falling down the stairs.
Mike Tyson could probably do some. I mean, but that's had to have been if it was an injury, it must have been a long time for her to just you know what I mean? Like you don't just die right away from getting a torso blunt hit or something.
Yeah, I don't know. You got like internal bleeding for a while if that's the case. Maybe
she couldn't move, couldn't get to a phone. I don't know, but
that's horrible. But I think you're right. I think you're at least the production of the conspiracy theory again.
The Trump body count narrative.
We've pointed out the conspiracy theorizing of the left and specifically the news media, in operators like Chris Shilzilla or just any number of people. The conspiracy theorizing about Trump has been hilarious to watch because in one breath, they will talk about how conspiracy theories are killing our democracy, and then they will just ramble about some conspiracy theory about Trump. But I think I think you have a really good point. Even if whatever the creation, seeding the minds. Of the population,
because you would need
the Trump body count.
You would need the death to benefit Trump in some way, and
exactly.
And the core thing is perfect because it's like he's got that clean record of never having to testify,
and he's been avoiding it for so long.
It's just a great way to be like, let's take out Ivana, and especially because the two kids are involved in the alleged, or not the alleged, but the scheduled. Hearing or testimony or whatever. So I don't know, man. If I don't,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but the body count narrative, of course, referring to the Hillary body count or the Clinton body count, is very effective.
It is,
and it's not only very effective to the opposition, but it's effective. You talk to at least some like real sort of thinking lefties, which remember, folks, the true left does not like Hillary. Honestly, when I'm again, this is not a show about conversations that I've had, but I was having a conversation.
You should have a lot of them.
I know, but it's just show, some people don't have a lot of contact with true lefties.
That's true, yeah.
And I do, for better for worse.
Sure.
I was talking to this lefty, and we were talking about just just everything, the world, and Clinton came up in regards to 2024. That's what I was doing. I was telling them about Biden's low approval numbers, and they were trying to defend his low approval numbers. And I go, really? You're defending that? That's interesting. You really don't want Hillary to run again? And they're like, no, we would much rather Biden than Hillary. Hillary's a monster. Hillary's a da-da-da. And I'm like, wow, really? Which gave me an opportunity to kind of play Hillary's advocate. And I was like, I mean, she's a genius. She's like a political assassin. Like, she's a political genius. The things that she's been able to do. So I kind of am trying to bait them into talking good about Hillary. And they're just like, no, I mean, she's an evil person. She's the Hillary body count. I'm like, wow, that is a powerful narrative. If it's getting even lefties to recognize Hillary as a monster, it may have taken 15 years for that narrative to make it into that milieu, but it worked. It worked, and I think they saw it work, and they're like, okay, let's do a Trump body count. Yep.
I have this tweet from Matt, who's he describes himself as liberal, ex-evangelical, LGBTQ plus, and other things that are probably not family friendly.
He's a furry.
Yes, he says worse. He says in this tweet, "I'm going to agree with the likely," and this is retweeting the tweet about Ivana's death. Trump posting a little note about it. I'm going to agree with the likelihood that she was Epsteined. People have always been convinced that there is a Clinton body count, but it looks like there's a greater chance of there being a Trump body count.
Oh,
so
that's
it's already starting to happen on Twitter.
Yeah.
People are starting to kind of whisper it. I'm sure in the next, whoever dies next.
Yeah. Did you just find that, or
I just
did you have that prepared?
No, you
just found it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. Love it.
Yeah.
Yep. So there you go. Very convenient. Death of Donald Trump's ex-wife, blunt force trauma to the torso, falling down the stairs, possibly. They don't commit to that. Just very conveniently the day before he's supposed to testify under oath, something we know he hates doing. Yeah. And we'll see how that narrative is crafted over the next weeks.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody will piece together the dots and create their own narrative for political gain.